You're listening to the Otis Jiry channel.
My Grandmother Never Baked Me Cookies by Lauren Munera, narrated by Otis Jiry. My grandmother was a tough woman. She was a rancher her whole life, taking care of the family farm alongside her husband. She woke up before the sun and broke her back until it went down. She was resourceful, sarcastic, and sharp as a whip. Motherhood gave her a touch of calm, and as a grandmother, she was as kind as she was strong, still throwing bales of hay at 65. Given her upbringing and general no-nonsense nature, I was never surprised that she didn't do the typical grandmotherly antics, like baking cookies. She considered it a frivolous waste of time, something homemakers indulged in. She and her husband were too busy working the land to work an oven. There were, however, a few select times that I saw her contradict herself. A summer when I visited, and I saw her and Grandpa glowering at a stack of papers on the kitchen table. They spoke in angry, hushed whispers. I caught the words "sell" and "profitable land" on the top sheet before my grandfather snatched the bundle up and threw it into the fire. That night, my grandmother made cookie dough. The next morning, a man in a suit came, toting a briefcase and a stern mouth. My grandfather shooed him away as my grandmother set down a plate of cookies. I didn't see the man in the suit leave, but I did see my grandfather return covered in dirt. I would later discover that my grandparents had been turning down land buyers for the last 20 years. Something about large deposits of valuable metals deep beneath the ground. The buyers weren't always legal in their methods of coercion. Several had been jailed for assault, and while my grandfather would have black eyes and stitches, the other guys definitely looked worse. My grandparents might have been past their youth, but they still had pride. They had cultivated the farm all their lives. They weren't about to let it be bulldozed. It would stay in the family. And so it did, up until Grandma's dying day. I was at her bedside for the last few minutes. Grandpa had died a mere 10 days earlier. My mother lived across the country, and though she was rushing, the turnaround was too sudden. She wouldn't make it in time. Having picked up the family profession of tending the farm, I was the only one monitoring my grandmother's departure from this world. She couldn't speak much, more than a rasp at the end, but she tucked a piece of paper into my hands before passing. I won't forget the stern look in her eyes, the demand that blood defend blood. It's been a few days since then. There's a knocking on my door. I imagine it's another suited man come to sweet-talk the new owner of the house. But he won't get much of anywhere. Even though I don't have my grandfather's strong arms, I still have his shovel, and I've got patience. I pause to glance at the note I've taped to the fridge, a traditional family recipe, and set a plate of warm cookies onto the kitchen table.